Hello everyone, how's it going? It's me, Larry the Batman fan. I'm back with another video. I hope that you all are doing well today. So today I wanted to get my Wii Hidden Gems video out the way. I had promised everyone that I was going to do a third Wii Hidden Gems video. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. But before we get started, I wanted to say a few things. That the reviews that I do here will be 2 minutes or less, just to save some time. And also, not going to be picking titles like Super Mario Galaxy or the sequel Super Mario Galaxy 2, which I currently don't own. No More Heroes, which is a great game, but it's been widely talked about by Metal Jesus Rocks, and many other YouTube channels have talked about No More Heroes, and also its sequel, No More Heroes 2. So I'm not going to be mentioning them, even though I technically have mentioned them here. Mad World is another one that is widely talked about here, but it's not a hidden gem in my opinion because it's been widely talked about. Also, thank you to Retro Rob for giving me some suggestions. I know he gave me some suggestions. He gave me Mad World, No More Heroes 1 and 2, Super Mario Galaxy, Radia the Sky Soldiers, The Conduit, Elbits, and one other game, I think. Well, excuse me. I sneezed. So he gave me those suggestions, and I am going to be giving you a couple of his suggestions. But Mad World and No More Heroes, and Dead Space Extraction, a couple of the ones that he chose, they were not really hidden gems in my opinion, because so many people have talked about them to the point where I don't feel that they're hidden gems at all. Metal Jesus Rocks has covered a lot of hidden gems, and I just don't want to plagiarize him in any sort of way. Give me a second. Sorry. So anyways, let's go ahead and get started. I don't want to waste anybody's time. Y'all came to hear me talk about games, so let's go ahead. Monopoly the Streets. Yes, this is the 360 version of the game. I don't have this on Wii, but it is available on the Nintendo Wii. It is a worthwhile game for your collection, for a party type of game. I definitely wanted to throw a party game on this list because honestly, out of all the party games there is on the Wii, not many of them are very good, except for Mario Party and Mario Party 8 and Mario Party 9, I meant to say. But besides that, you had a lot of shovelware, a lot of party games that weren't really that good, like 30 Great Games and 101 to 1. Just garbage. So I had to choose something that was really good, and the one that came to mind was Monopoly the Streets. Also, the original Monopoly, there was a reboot of that for the Wii and Xbox 360. They might have released the two games on PlayStation 3 as well, but I'm not entirely sure. But I do know that they were released on 360 and Wii. And it's a really fun party game. If you have multiple friends to play this game with, even on your Wii, it really is a good time. You could play classic mode in this game, go through the levels, and pass go, get 200 for pass and go, screw your opponent over with hotels and them landing on the hotel property. and making them pay double or triple the rent of your three spots that you had and you got hotels for. Make them pay like $1,500 or some shit for that. You know, it's a really fun game. It's not as fun by yourself, but when you have multiple people to play with, it really is a blast. And I highly recommend it for your Wii. Definitely, if you're looking for a good party game, get Monopoly of the Streets. Alright, coming up next. Of course, I don't have this in alphabetical order, so I have to screw around with this. Sorry everyone. Here we go, I got it. We're going to do some racing games here. So, Metal Jesus Rocks did talk about Monster 4x4 Stunt Racer. But he didn't mention the first game, World Circuit. He didn't talk about that one. So I'll make an exception and throw this in here as well. Both games are amazing. They're really fun racing games. There is also one on the GameCube as well. I've never played that one, but I really like these two games. I think they're really fun. If you like racing games, definitely don't pass them up. They are arcade style racing games that just want to focus on the fun. And they definitely do just that. Go around the tracks and you're racing like these monster truck type of cars. And you get a lot of speed, you get nitro boost. You know, you get to screw your opponents over at like the last 2 seconds when they're like in second place. You're in second place rather than speed with the nitro and get first place by like 2 seconds. It's pretty awesome. It's a lot of fun. I like the track layouts in the games, and I think that the graphics look pretty good for this. This one you could go up the thing, go around like that, which was pretty cool. You couldn't do that in World Circuit. However, from what I played at World Circuit, I got pretty far in it. I really enjoyed what I played of Monster 4x4 World Circuit as well, even though you couldn't do that little thing where you go over the top of the screen and then go down. You know, it still was a blast nonetheless. And then there's also those like puddles and dirt piles that you had to watch out for because they really slow down your vehicle. Had to watch out for that as well. All in all, both games are excellent and they are definitely worth your time and money. And you can get both of these games for about $12 or maybe $13 or $14. It's really not a bad deal for $6 or $7 a piece. It's worth your time and money. Goes to show that the Wii, not everything on the Wii is garbage. You know, a lot of people I think of the Wii that it's trash. There's no good games on it besides Mario, Zelda, Donkey Kong, Resident Evil, and Kirby. But that isn't true, and I'm proving it right here. Next up, we got GoldenEye, and we have the Quantum of Solace. One was exclusive. GoldenEye was exclusive to the Wii, unless you count the N64 game. But honestly, I feel like this is like its own thing. But if you count the N64 game, then it is a remake. Because you don't play as Pierce Brosnan, you play as Daniel Craig in it. And this one, Quantum of Solace, which wasn't exclusive because it was also available on PS3 and Xbox 360. And it was also on PlayStation 2, surprisingly. Both games are good. I consider one of them to be a licensed game. But they're good first-person shooter games where you play as Secret Agent Bond 007. You go through each level, doing mission objective type of things, and shooting people in your path. You know, the bad guys that get in your way. And it really is done well. They did use some Wii motion controls a bit, but it seemed to work well. Honestly, I played this game with the GameCube controller because the Wii remote, I could not figure out what the hell I was doing wrong. It was pretty damn frustrating, I'll admit. I couldn't figure out what the fuck I was doing. It was just ridiculous. But with the GameCube controller, I was able to beat this game. So that's how I beat the game. But with this, I prevailed through with the Wii remote somehow. No, that was a bit of a pain. But they were both good first-person shooter games, and I highly recommend it. This one also had a multiplayer in the game. For when you beat the game and you have friends over and you want to play with a friend, you could play the multiplayer, and that was a lot of fun too. Going through the levels and trying to find where your friend is, and then shooting your friend down with a golden gun or one of those kebab weapons. It was a lot of fun. But it never will capture the memories of GoldenEye N64. That is the best Bond game ever made. But this still is a great game. And so is Quantum of Solace. For a licensed game, it's actually really good. The next game I want to mention is on the Nintendo Wii, but it's also available on PS2. And I also know that it was available on Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3. And that game is The Chronicles of Narnia, Prince Caspian. I honestly think that this game was a good licensed game as well. I enjoyed what I played of it. It was a beat 'em up style game for the Chronicles of Narnia and the Chronicles of Narnia universe, but it was actually done quite well. And I just really like the game. Some people may not like that game, but please respect my opinion, because honestly, the level design and the way you waggle your remote, it all felt natural. So I really didn't see anything wrong with it at all. It just seemed like it was a pretty fun licensed game. You know, every now and then they'll make a licensed game that's worthwhile, that's not shit, and is actually a damn good time, you know. So that one was pretty good. I recommend it. Back to the shooters, we have Medal of Honor Vanguard and Medal of Honor Heroes 2. Metal Jesus Rocks did mention Medal of Honor Heroes 2, but he didn't mention Vanguard. Medal of Honor Heroes 2 was released for the Wii, and it was also released on the PSP. And Medal of Honor Vanguard was released on the Wii, but it was also ported to the PlayStation 2. They are both good military shooters for the Wii. I highly recommend them. If you enjoy first-person shooter games, they are a blast to play. One interesting thing to note about Medal of Honor Heroes 2 is they had an on-rails mode in this game where you could go through the levels and shoot the bad guys on rail. I think that was a nice touch for the Wii. The PSP version, you couldn't do that. So it was nice having that for the Wii. They're just really great games. Great first-person shooters. I really can't recommend them enough. The campaigns in them are fun. The controls are good. Everything about them is just a lot of fun for the Wii. And this one too. Although, I feel like the graphics could have looked a little bit better, honestly, because they look like muddy-ass dog shit. But if they had put a little bit more effort, they could have made them shine a little bit more. But I understand they were going for that war look, you know, from the 1940s, World War II, so they were trying to keep it like old school looking. But, you know, just don't half-ass shit. Make the fucking graphics look great. Otherwise, it's like kind of pointless to release a game. Make it a good game, but the graphics don't look that great. But that's just a minor complaint. They are still very good games for your Wii and definitely worth getting. And you can get both of them for about 10 or 11 bucks. They're not very expensive for the Wii. Alright, we still got more games to go. I got more to talk about. I'm gonna get Retro Rob's games out the way, because he had some that he wanted me to mention, and I had asked him to aid me a bit. So, out of all the ones that he chose, I think this is the most underrated one, is Elebits. Elebits is a first-person shooter game but it's more cutesy and not as violent. That's why it's rated E. You collect eggs and shoot these creatures in the game, and it's just a really good game that Konami made. It's definitely worth your time and money if you're looking for Wii games, but already have Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2, Donkey Kong Country, The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, and Skyward Sword, and No More Heroes. And you're looking for something that's a bit more underrated or a hidden gem, this is definitely one to check out. It is a good game for the Wii, and it's really not talked about that much. I mean, I think the Wii viewer might have talked about it, but that's about it. I don't see too many reviews on Elebits, so I'm here to let it shine through. And I thank you, Retro Rob, for having me mention this, because it is worth your time and effort, folks. If you have a Wii, it definitely is worth your time. Another game he wanted me to mention, and I agree with him that it is underrated enough, so I will mention it, is Metal Slug Anthology. The game was released on the Wii, but it was also released for PS2 and PSP. It is a compilation of Metal Slug 1 through 6, and it's a run and gun shoot 'em up type of game where you play as a soldier and you go through the level just shooting everything in sight, and the death animations are very funny. You know, because when you shoot the guy with a bazooka or a rocket launcher and he gets hit, he goes, ah! And he falls down to his death. So, it's not very gory, though, because it's a T for teen game. But it's good, and it's definitely worth checking out, especially if you can't afford a Neo Geo. I don't even have a Neo Geo in my collection, because Neo Geo is just too damn expensive. But that game series, a lot of them were on the Neo Geo, but they put it on the Wii. You know, for a game disc to have Metal Slug Anthology is a pretty good idea. And yeah, the game works well and it plays well. And yeah, I definitely recommend that if you have a Wii. Alright, now moving on, because we've got more to talk about, because I wanted this to be a decent length for the third Hidden Gems video here. Next up we have Sonic Colors. I do think Sonic Colors is an underrated gem for the Wii, because a lot of the Sonic games in from 2005 to 2009 or 2010 that were coming out, they were dog shit. They sucked. They were not very good. Like Sonic Unleashed was really not that good, and neither was Sonic and the Secret Rings and Sonic and the Black Knight and Sonic the Hedgehog 2006. Those games were all dog shit, basically. So, like when Sonic Colors came out, it was like a breath of fresh air, because the game was actually good. Sonic had the speed and the agility and the stamina that he didn't have before, you know. And one game they had him as like a guy with speed, but then eventually he turned into a werehog and he has no speed whatsoever, and the game gets boring. The game's a chore to play. But with this one, everything was fine. They didn't screw anything up. They made it fun to play. The Wii remote is responsive. The controls are good. So it definitely falls underrated, because this was like the only good Sonic game on the Wii besides the racing game, Sonic All-Stars Racing. But at the time, that game wasn't exclusive to the Wii. It was also on Xbox 360 and PS3. This was exclusive to the Wii. And it was a really fun game. And I highly recommend it. And I do consider it underrated enough, since there was so many bad Sonic games coming out left and right. And then this one came out and they were like People were like, "Oh, it's gonna suck. It's gonna suck. It's gonna suck." And it's like, it doesn't suck. It doesn't suck. It doesn't suck. Like, whoa! It blew people's minds. It was actually a good game. Next up, we have another racing game, Bigfoot King of Crush. I wanted to mention this in this video because I thought that it was a good game. I liked the collision course. Zoo, for some reason, the publisher Zoo, made a lot of good games, but they end up falling as underrated or hidden gems. And Bigfoot King of Crush was no exception. The graphics actually look better than the one called Collision Course that I mentioned in my previous Hidden Gems videos. But it's a very good racing game. It's very fun. Although the levels are a bit linear. You know, it's easier to progress in this game. It's still a very good game. I highly recommend it for Wii owners looking for some good games. This is a really good racing game. I wouldn't pass it up, and it's only about $5 or $6, so no excuses. Go ahead and find it. Look for it anywhere you can find it, at a retro game store or eBay or something, Amazon. SSX Blur. There was no way I was going to leave this out. I really haven't had a chance to play this one because I just got this one, but I know what the SSX games are like because I played Tricky. I played the original one, and I played SSX 3. They are fun snowboarding games that combine it with a little bit of racing in them. You go down these big slopes and do tricks and stuff. The snow is everywhere as you're going down and grinding down. You get to move from left to right like this, like you're on a pirate ship, and do tricks and stuff. It's just a blast to play. EA Sports Big really did make some good sports games. And I'm not even into sports games, but this one was a lot of fun. And I highly recommend it if you're looking for a sports game on the Wii but don't know which one to choose. This one's a good one. Emergency Mayhem is a decent game. It's underrated for sure. It is a racing game. You do mission objectives in this game. It also combines more driving. I'd say it's more of a driving game than a racing game. You know, and there's just a lot of things that you gotta do. The only thing that pissed me off about this game is the time limit in certain parts of the game. But they barely give you enough time to get anywhere, you know. So that's what makes the game challenging. I get it. But at the same time, it's frustrating as hell. Especially when you're trying to get to this one spot, pick somebody up or drop somebody off. It's like you had like 5 seconds to get there and you were like 2 blocks away. You're like totally screwed. You know, you're like, what the hell do I do now? And you don't end up making it and you have to start the level all over again, which was annoying. But for the most part, the game is pretty fun and I definitely recommend it. Here's some screenshots of the game. Yeah, and it's the T for Teen game. You're surprised, I bet, because there was more E-rated games than T games, and M-rated games were even more scarce on the Wii, since there was only 43 titles. Nancy Drew, the White Wolf of Icicle Creek. I have not played this yet, but I've seen gameplay on it, and it is a point-and-click adventure game and puzzle-solving game where you play as Nancy Drew and her friends, trying to solve murders and solve the mysteries. It is a fun game. The dialogue is a little off at times. But for the most part, it's a really fun game. And it's perfect if you like point and click type of games. I definitely recommend it if you're a fan of Nancy Drew. Because really, I'm a big fan of Nancy Drew. And a lot of the Nancy Drew games did not make it on the Wii. They were on PC. And right now, I don't have a PC because the computer is broken. So I can't really play any of my PC games right now. So this will do for a Nancy Drew game because I can play this. I know there's also a couple of Nancy Drew games on the Nintendo DS. I have 1 or 2 of them, but I think there were 3 or 4 of them. But I love Nancy Drew. Very good detective. A lot of fun. Definitely my kind of game. For RPGs, There are some RPGs available on the Nintendo Wii, but honestly, I wasn't going to put Xenoblade Chronicles up here or Final Fantasy The Crystal Bears because RGT85 talked about them, and also I don't consider them hidden gems. But when we talk about RPG games that are hidden gems, one that comes to mind is Tales of Symphonia Dawn of the New World. Now, ultimately, Tales of Symphonia is a JRPG, and it really is a fun game. And there have been many Tales games in the series back to I think the PC or the PlayStation 1 with Tales of Destiny. Really good games, highly recommend them. Hold on a second. I gotta take a swig. Since this is a long video. They're really good games, but honestly, I don't feel like all of them. Oh, Tales of Xyla and Tales of Arise being some other ones that I know of. And Tales of Symphonia on the GameCube, the original one. I feel like some of them aren't really underrated or hidden gems, but this one is like, it was a surprise to be on the Wii. Because it's not normally on the Wii. But it's a good game, good RPG game. It'll probably take you like almost a month to beat this game because it's got so much content in it. Just a really good game. I highly recommend it. There is a fighting game that I wanted to mention. I don't currently own it, but I've heard good things about it. It's called Legend of the Dragon, and I think it's based off the Flying Dragon series, which Flying Dragon on the NES was not really a fighting game. It was more of a side-scroller / platformer game. But basically, they took the Legend of the Dragon series, or Flying Dragon series, and turned it into a fighting game. And for the most part, it works. It's actually a fun fighting game for the Nintendo Wii. So I definitely recommend that. Continuing the fighting series, the fighting genre, there were 3 Ninja Turtle games on the Wii. And the only one that was really good is this one. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Smash Up. Kind of took the Super Smash Bros. Brawl type of style and turned it into the Ninja Turtle characters. You could also play as Casey Jones, I believe. The Sensei and Shredder, I believe, was also in the game. And possibly April O'Neil. And it's a really fun fighting game that you can play up to 4 players with. You could use the GameCube controller and the Pro controller here. And it really just is a blast to play. I played this for a couple hours and I had fun. So I recommend it if you're a fan of Ninja Turtles or you're just a fan of fighting games in general. It's a good time. There were some other fighting games on the system that I consider underrated. I don't consider Mortal Kombat Armageddon underrated, but I do consider Tatsunoko vs. Capcom to be a very underrated game on the Wii. You get to play as characters like Ryu, Chun-Li, and all the characters from Street Fighter. But you also get to play as the Tatsunoko characters, which I'm not too familiar with. Maybe Captain Falcon is part of that. I'm not sure. He might be, but I'm not entirely sure. But all I know is that that is a good game as well for the Wii. It's an underrated gem for a fighting game, and if you don't agree, I will give you a Shoryuken. Just kidding. Next up, we have Guitar Hero 3 Legends of Rock. Out of all the Guitar Hero games they made, which they made 7 or 8, they ported Guitar Hero 2, 3, 5, Smash Hits, Metallica, Van Halen, Green Day, and I think Aerosmith on the Wii. I think Guitar Hero 3 Legends of Rock is the best one. It's not exclusive. It's also available on Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 and also PlayStation 2. But it had a ton of songs in it. It was a ton of fun. You could use a guitar or you could use a microphone in the game. You got all these different songs right here. You know, and you get to play songs by like Rage Against the Machine, Aerosmith, AC/DC, Korn, Limp Bizkit, Guns N' Roses. Trying to think of who else. Probably Buck Cherry is in this. Red Hot Chili Peppers. Goo Goo Dolls. Disturbed. And a bunch of others that are not coming to mind. Metallica, you know. And it's just a really fun game. A really fun rhythm game. I sucked at playing the guitar playing this game though. At a friend's house. I wasn't very good at that. I'm better at the vocals, so I use the microphone. But whatever you decide to play as or use, it's still a blast as long as you are coordinated with the guitar or good at singing and following along with the notes. You do a really good job, and you get tons of points for your band and stuff, and then more people get to know you and go to see you at a show in the game. It really is a good game. Highly recommend it. It's definitely underrated enough for me. I mean, they stopped making Guitar Hero games, so I consider it underrated enough. Another racing game I want to highlight is Monster Truck Madness, Monster Truck Mayhem. Another game made by Zoo. While the options menu is limited, you really don't get much in the way of options. And I don't think you could save this game, or maybe it just saves internally. The racing in the game is fun, and the controls are responsive, and the levels are drawn out enough in the game to make it fun and worthwhile. I definitely had some fun playing this. It's only a one-player game though. I wish it had been a two-player game. But it's definitely a good time. If you want to have a friend over and play, you race around the track and they have somebody else play with you, you could probably do it that way since it's only a one-player game. Honestly, they should have made this a two-player game. But all in all, it's still a very fun game from what I played, and it can be had for only about $5, so you have no excuse, collectors. You gotta go out and get this game. It's definitely worth your time and money. Now, there were a ton of Lego games on the Nintendo Wii, and honestly, out of all of them, I'm a big Star Wars fan, so there was no denying I was going to choose Lego Star Wars 3. And I also do have in here somewhere Lego Star Wars The Complete Saga. Let me see if I can find that. I have it loose disc. Here it is. Lego Star Wars The Complete Saga. And basically what this version was, it took the GameCube ports or PS2 ports and it put all 6 of them together. So honestly, I don't even need to own the GameCube games or the PS2 games, because with this version, you could just play through each level, as a complete saga. They also released this on Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3, but it is a good game. It's a lot of fun playing as the Lego characters, Anakin Skywalker or Obi-Wan Kenobi. Two of you work together, go through each episode from the movies, and it follows the movies quite well. But it does it in a kiddie way, where it's not T for teen, you know what I mean? Because it's an E10 game. So it still keeps the kiddie formula. When you kick droids' asses, you don't see any blood come out of them, and they just fall down because they're little blocks and stuff. It's a good game. I recommend it if you're a fan of Lego Star Wars. And Lego Star Wars 3 continued the saga in a Clone War type of thing. So it was focusing by that point on the cartoon that was on Cartoon Network for 5 years. And it just did a really good job as well. And in this, they added Yoda as well that you could play as. And it's just a really good game. It was also not exclusive, though, to the Wii. It was on PS3 and Xbox 360 as well. And I think they even put it on PSP. But it's a really good game. I highly recommend it. So that's all of the games that I wanted to mention, although I feel like I'm missing a few. Phantom Brave is also a good game on the Nintendo Wii. That's a good RPG game that's not talked about enough. Pandora's Tower, I feel, is not talked about enough. Although Metal Jesus Rocks did talk about it. it does need to be thrown out there that that's a decent game, and it came out at the end of the Wii's life cycle. And then there's also My Sims Party, which I think's an okay game. It's not amazing for a party game, but it's all right. Game Party 2, which I didn't really talk about. I talked about the third one, but I like those games. Those are good party games as well. The first one's a little rough around the edges. They all are, but they're still playable enough to where you can have, excuse me, some fun. There is a bowling game, a cosmic bowling game, where you play as like these people. They got like funky hair, and I think you can play as an alien in the game. That's a fun game. Pool Party is also a fun game for a pool game on the Wii. That's actually really fun. Definitely recommend that as well. Yeah, and Red Steel. I don't feel that Red Steel gets enough attention. The sequel gets more attention than the first one because a lot of the critics hated the first Red Steel game, and I don't understand why. I liked it. From what I played, it was a good first-person shooter. I understand that the combat was a little annoying for the sword fighting, but overall it was not that bad of a game, honestly. The people just need to shut up and just, give it a try. Don't believe everything that the critics say. Sometimes when the critics say something's bad, it's not always bad. Wario Land Shake It, I do consider that underrated. And Pac-Man Party, that's a fun Mario Party type of game, but with Pac-Man characters instead. That's fun. It was kind of like a sequel to Pac-Man Fever. And I'm sure there's a few that I'm missing. But anyways, thank you guys for watching and listening. I know this was a long video. I hope you guys enjoyed. This is the third and final Wii Hidden Gems video that I'm doing. I don't plan on doing any more, but I think we covered quite a bit. Hope you guys enjoyed. God bless you all. Thank you for watching and take care. Peace. Hey, what's up everyone? It's Larry the Batman fan. So, I decided to add 2 more Wii games to this Hidden Gems video. One was a request from Retro Rob. Metal Jesus Rocks did not talk about this game in his Hidden Gems videos. However, RGT85 mentioned it in his videos, and it really is a good game for the Wii. And that game is The Conduit. The Conduit is a first-person shooter where you play as a secret agent, and you go through the levels. You hold your Wii remote and nunchuck. You use both of them to move around with. And so when you're moving around and everything, you can actually kind of feel the movement of you moving around. You have to shoot a few human characters in the game that want to kill you dead. But for the majority of the game, it's basically a war shooter game against aliens. The game is very fun, and when they had online play for this game, it was definitely worth your time. It was a lot of fun. The split screen multiplayer was awesome as well. And the campaign is pretty lengthy. I got pretty far in this game, but I will say that one thing that sucked towards the end of the game was the fact that if you run out of bullets become scarce towards the end of the game, which definitely makes it a challenging game for sure. So towards the end of that level, make sure you find as many bullets as you can, because you're going to need it, especially when killing aliens. But overall, this is definitely a hidden gem for the Wii. And Retro Rob, thank you for giving me a handful of suggestions. It's just, I just knew I could not mention No More Heroes or Mad World or Dead Space Extraction or even House of the Dead Overkill, because to me they're not really hidden gems because they've been talked about too much. But the Conduit, I don't think the Conduit gets enough recognition, so we'll go ahead and put this in the video. Thank you, Retro Rob, for your help. I thank you very much for helping me find some hidden gems for the Wii. Another game I want to highlight that I think is really good for the Wii. It was also available on PS3 and Xbox 360, but it's worth your time, and it didn't go up in value like the PS3 and Xbox 360 version. I got this for 20 bucks. It's worth the $20. It's Spider-Man Edge of Time. We've had 5 or 6 Spider-Man games on the Wii. After the PS1 Spider-Man games and Spider-Man 2 on the PS2, and Spider-Man the original, which were both licensed games based off the movies, they were okay. The first one was okay. Second one was phenomenal. The third one was crap. You know? And then we had like Web of Shadows and Friend or Foe. Friend or Foe was crap. Web of Shadows was okay, but nothing really special. So it wasn't until we got Edge of Time and Shattered Memories that we actually got a good Spider-Man game again. Now we have the Spider-Man games on PS4 and PS5 that are actually worth your time as well. But this game, I love the cel-shaded style of the game. It looks amazing. Web slinging feels more natural. Climbing walls is natural. And the gameplay is fun. The controls are good. And punching and kicking the bad guys feels satisfying. So it's definitely worth your time and money if you're looking for a good Wii Hidden Gem game. And I do consider this a hidden gem, even though it's Spider-Man. Spider-Man is popular, but I don't think that this game is popular enough to where it's not a hidden gem. It is definitely a hidden gem. So that's really all I wanted to say. Thank you everyone for watching and tuning in and listening to me. I hope you guys enjoyed. Take care. God bless. Have a good day. Bye. Hey everyone, how's it going? So I wanted to add a few more games to my Nintendo Wii best list, hidden gems list. Since this is the third part of the video, the third video we're doing, rather. So, okay, so I've done some research and I have found some more. We got Def Jr. 2, The Root of All Evil. I think Def Jr. 2, The Root of All Evil is a good game. It is a like platformer type of game, action platformer I'd say. You play as a Grim Reaper, you go through the levels, you smash pumpkins and you fight, you know, all these weird creatures and stuff, and you also climb up things. It's a pretty good game, and I definitely had to mention it for the Wii. It's not exclusive on the Wii, it was also on the PSP as well. So I had to mention that. But it's a good game. So anyways, moving on, we have Marvel Ultimate Alliance. I have the Xbox 360 version of this game, but it's also available on the Wii, and also Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2, which I have for 360. I don't have the Wii versions of the game. They were also available on PS3, I believe, and the PlayStation 2. And I think this one, the second one, was on PSP as well. And what they are, they're action RPG games / beat 'em up games where you go through the levels as, you know, you pick a character. You pick Spider-Man, Hulk, Thor, Daredevil, Iron Man. You could play as Venom, I think. Wolverine, Black Widow, Deadpool. You know, any Marvel character you can think of. Maybe even Rogue and Storm and the Fantastic Four. And you go through the levels, and what you do essentially, you beat people up, you collect stuff, and then you go to the next level. Some rooms you get to, they're locked, so you have to kind of backtrack a little bit in order to progress and get further, which it's annoying, but it is rewarding. And not overly annoying to the point where I want to shut the game off, because I hate backtracking in games, I really do. But they are good games, and they are on the Wii, and they are worth playing, even with the Wii remote, the remote control. It's worth it. I also want to mention Ultimate Board Game Collection. I think that's a fun game. I own that for PS2. I don't have the Wii version, but that's fun. If you don't have any friends at your house to play board games with, like chess, checkers, backgammon, Battleship, Mahjong, and a couple of those other games, Chutes and Ladders, then you can play it on the Wii. And it's actually a fun game. And I know it's not widely talked about, so it is underrated. But if there's any reviews out there that say it's garbage, that's their opinion. Because, like, for me, if I'm playing a game and I'm actually having a good time, then it's still worthy of going up on my list. And I feel like that game can still go up on my list because it's not a bad game at all. I'm trying to think, what else there is. There's a bunch of other games out there that just not coming to mind. But we all know what the best games are. The best games is House of the Dead Overkill, House of the Dead 2 and 3 Returns, Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2, Mad World, No More Heroes 2, Metroid Prime 3 Corruption. These are all some of the best games on the system, but for this list, they don't go here. Actually, just thought of one more. I think we'll do one more and then I'll end the video. It's Oni-chan-Bara Bikini Zombie Slayers. Yes, I think this game's pretty good. It was exclusive originally for the Wii, but it later got ported to the Xbox 360. I don't think it was ported on the PS3, although I could be wrong. But it wasn't a bad game. You play as two women in bikinis. They got like a katana and sword and stuff. And I think they're sisters. And you go through the levels just decimating zombies and killing zombies. And it's actually a fun game for the Wii. And it's a mature game on the Wii. And there's not that many. There's only 43 or 44 Wii games that got a mature rating. And this one was one of them. There's different levels in the game. I remember playing it before. I didn't get like super far, but from what I played, I enjoyed what I played. Just go through the levels, kicking zombie ass, and fighting hordes of zombies, and you kill them with your katana. So I thought it was a pretty good game, and it's underrated. I don't think too many people are talking about it. So it deserves to be on my list for Wii Hidden Gems. Well, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed, and thank you for checking out the third part here. God bless you all, and thanks for watching. Take care. Bye.